All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope I don't get I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that. I was just listening to a song from Kid Rock. Actually, I have a playlist of songs that I was listening to in loop during the Freedom Convoy. And I'm wondering if I should share that playlist with all of you, if anybody cares, if you guys use Spotify or not. But good morning! And I hope today is a better morning than yesterday, but it is what it is. And just goes to show you, no matter how bad the news may or may not be that goes on in your day, the sun will still rise tomorrow. Life will go on. We'll figure things out. And in our case, we're going to have a lot of fun with the Pravda Report. It's really good. So over on Locals, by the way, those of you subscribe to Locals on Facebook and Twitter, on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, you can only post comments. On Locals, you can post some memes. I love memes. In the yesterday, just to kind of vent at night, I was in the Discord server that we're setting up, and I was in the meme room, and I was just posting meme after meme after meme. It's a good way to vent your frustrations or annoyance. Good morning, Beth. Good morning, Freedom Cowgirl. Amanda, what's up? Everybody's look at this. Good morning. Yesterday, sad news. Sad news. Listen. I think we did for me, I think I did the right thing. I put my faith in Rouleau, and boy, was I wrong. He had the opportunity to build himself a legacy, but he took a crap all over it. So, no, that's his problem, right? Because we're going to make sure that the rest of the world know, because the window for the commission was small. But the time frame that I could obnoxiously talk about it every day of my life is now. So, anyways, whatever. We'll forget it. Listen, I know some of you are anxious. Yeah, Beth, I felt a bit anxious, panicked, wondering what was the point of my life. Well, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And when I saw Suing Hope of Distraction Myself, which worked a little. Listen, this is the problem with living in a society we're so politicized. We're always thinking that, this politicization of all these things are a part of our daily life, and they're not. They're not. Yes, they're annoying. Yes, there's encroachment. Yes, we're gonna deal with it. But if we stick together and we're strategic and we think things out and plan long term, then we can fix it, which is part of what this is. That's part of what this platform is. It's funny. I started this morning having coffee, watching the Fall of Civilization YouTube channel, which I'm a history nerd, so I love watching that stuff. And just goes to show you, it could be a lot worse. It could be much, much worse. Are there cause for concern? Of course. But if we stick together and we deal with it, and when I say stick together, I don't mean unify with the saboteurs. Very important. They are in the same camp as Trudeau and Rouleau and the rest of the O's. They're all in the same camp, right? Anyways. Benjamin, be on time. Morning to all. This beautiful, bright morning. Why is not... You know what? I think something happened. I set it for 11 a.m., but I'm seeing messages from all of you guys from what is going on? Okay, well, anyways, whatever. I don't know what happened, but I set it for 11 a.m., but it looks like maybe it came through somehow earlier on the encoder. Again, remember, I'm using an encoder. I'm kind of communicating cross-platform and all that sort of stuff. Anyways, Cheryl likes Kid Rock. Well, I like Kid Rock as well. And that was one of the songs while I was working on messaging and strategies and what we're all going to do. That was one of the things that was on loop over and over again. And, the best version is always the one with all the swearing, right? Because that upsets all the snowflakes and all the marshmallows, which is kind of my thing. For those of you who don't know by now, I despise weakness. I really There's few things I hate more than weakness, and that's one of them. So, anyways, okay. Gonna talk about first. I think we should let's go back to a little bit of positivity and focus on all the good things. Firstly, we accomplished a lot with the Freedom Convoy. I think we changed the trajectory of the politics of Canada, the politics of the country and stuff. So we had a dramatic effect, definitely on the provincial level, and ultimately on the federal level. It just took some time. And so those are all things that we have to celebrate and we should be thankful for. So we accomplished a lot. And look where I am right now. It's beautiful outside. The sun rose. Doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky. It's the weekend. It's time to do stuff, time to have time just for ourselves to relax and calm down and all that sort of stuff. And I'm being told that there's something happened from, good morning from DeWinton, Alberta. Well, good morning. Thanks for being here, brother. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab, just bear with me for a second, because I think what happened, there must have been something with the encoder when it queued and it selected, it worked on locals, it just didn't work here. Let me go into the Discord, and which many of you will know more about sometime in the near future because we're still testing. And I'm going to post the link to the live stream now, so everybody, because looks like there's a bunch of people here for a while, posting comments and talking to each other. So, Guillaume, it's good to see you, brother. Oh, and Guillaume, I am going to be in Montreal next weekend sometime. So if you're available, let's see if we can get together and hang out and talk about all of these important things that we talk about here. Okay, so let me just put in the announcements to everyone. Hold on. I know this is not terribly riveting. Live now. I'll explain that later when they come in. They ask me questions. Okay, so, I hope it didn't really do all that. Anyways, Angie, good morning. Jesse, good morning. Guillaume, Hitchhiker, everybody, thank you for. So, anyways, I think we can just focus on some of the positive stuff. Much of the I look like I'm a schmuck right now. So many good things happened, and it's beautiful out. Yeah, we got this report from some bureaucrats yesterday, which was, Pravda. It was, but I'm going to get into that in a second. But don't let it affect you, and don't let it affect, kind of your positive perspective and moving forward and all that sort of stuff. There's going to be, hold on, go slow, Ben. I have to get your boy. He hears you and it's screaming. So what is okay? So Jesse has a bird, which is I keep calling a Pikachu, which we know it's not, but I think it's a parakeet is what it is, and apparently that's one of my biggest fans. So at least I'm starting to bust into the animal kingdom demographic, which I've been trying to get into for some time. So say hello, Jesse. Tao, good to see you, brother. Now just have to train Ben to ping people just before he goes live. I just did that in the, I pinged everybody in the Discord, so it should be there. Hitchhiker won't let me post the Addy in chat, K9. Look up CPAC YouTube and the video we recently. Okay, I don't know what that means. Maybe you guys can do. Okay, so let's talk about the report. Now, people have asked me frequently, why don't I get, upset? Why don't I get angry? Why don't I get stressed? Why am I always kind of level-headed? And not to say that I don't get stressed and whatever, but I'm really good at, apparently, according to one of my best friends, a lawyer down south, that I'm very good at compartmentalizing or compartmentalization. And maybe it's natural, but I've worked on it for many, many years. That's why I have a structure for posting my tasks and chores and Kanban boards, digital Kanban boards, all that sort of stuff. I really recommend that to a lot of you, and also the politics. Like last night I was breaking the rules, but I try to, as of 9 o'clock at night, no more politics. Doesn't exist. Turn my brain off. Now it's my time. There's no nonsense. I don't care what's happening in the world. There could be a train derailment across the street. I don't give a damn. This is my time. It's going to be calm, and that's what I tend to do. So if I can recommend that, try it. So, and this was a valuable skill, I guess, in dealing with yesterday, because yesterday was complete chaos, as you can imagine. My Twitter, email, all that stuff was overloading with messages and text messages and all that sort of stuff about yesterday. Jesse says he's a cockatoo. All right, an umbrella cockatoo. What is the umbrella cockatoo's name, Jesse? Please let me know and we'll give a shout out. So, I just posted a picture just before I went live of breaking my freedom, my Honking For Freedom mug. Broke yesterday morning. It was the very first thing that happened. And I'm looking at it on the ground. I'm thinking, well, that's not good. I hope that's not a sign. But maybe it is. If it is, we'll deal with it. And it turns out it turns out it was. So, anyways, good morning, Amanda. Yeah, I feel anxious and panicked. And Amanda says, my feelings exactly. It was what is the point anymore? Then my anger took over, and it is I will fight till the death for our freedoms, quadruple heart. So that is from Amanda. I agree. I don't think we should look at this as kind of a bureaucratic snag in the road. So just a few comments on that. So first, Rouleau, there's a tweet that was put out by DK Real Live, and she put out this quote. She said, Rouleau actually acknowledged that Canadians had the fundamental right to protest. Then why the hell did he endorse the Emergencies Act for Trudeau's incompetencies? And I would respond, it's because that's not the right protest, right? It has to be a protest that they sanction and they like, then it's okay. That's how spoilt we are as a society. It's really quite gross. When we learned about freedom of speech when I was in school, it was all about protecting freedom of speech of the people you least like. That's why I'm always so, people keep pushing me to go after people for defamatory statements. And boy, do I have a boatload of things to go after people for. And I'm always just on the edge because I try to be a free speech absolutist. But I think we might have crossed over that edge, and I'll let you know more if I decide to go ahead with something on that account. And there may be something there, maybe not. But in terms of Rouleau's report, look, it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's not a report. It's a persuasion document. It's propaganda. It's Pravda. It is there to prop up the fake bullshit narrative from the legacy media and our lawyers who agreed with Trudeau, who threw us under the bus, all those people who threw us under the bus during the commission, so they can rage grift, right? Because you're probably going to see that, and I'll talk about that in a second. But why get upset over it, right? It's not... It tried to legitimize this fake news narrative that the political class, all parties, and the media conspired to construct. Now, the parties had kind of different variations of it, but they were going in the same direction, as was the media. It's no different than Russia. Sorry to tell you. It's no different. And, it's really weird that there's all these people in the fringe minority that wanted to be locked up in their houses like a bunch of sheep because they're so weak and powerless. I think that's why we had conflict. Conflict in our society was good. Conflict and wars and all that, because it kind of weeded out the complete pussies. I don't know. Do we need conscription? I don't know. I'm just saying some crazy things here, but we've become so weak and so feeble-minded. It's really quite pathetic. No wonder the rest of the world just looks at us with such disdain in the West, right? There's honking for a couple of days at a protest you disagree with, so send in the tanks. Like, what is going on? And that is supported by the idiots who wanted to be trapped in their homes and have the government remove all of them, strip them of their agency. Doesn't matter where you are on the political spectrum, because there are lefties and righties who agree with me on this, even though, I don't like that term. But for all those people who didn't want to be trapped in their home, I don't know. They all seem to be kind of freaky and weird. It's like they have some sort of internalized BDSM fetish, which wouldn't surprise me if Trudeau had some weird BDSM fetish. And listen, I'm libertarian. You do what you want. You do you. I don't care. I'm not going to judge, but that shouldn't be dictating the philosophical underpinnings of our politics in our country, which is what's happening right now. So anyways, I don't think I made the mistake of giving Justice Rouleau the benefit of the doubt, because now I look like the good guy. Because I said, I defended him many times. I said, listen, he's a justice. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Not everything is political. And gave him the opportunity. You can build your legacy around it, all that sort of stuff. And he shot himself in the foot. And he just showed that he has a serious lack of basic wisdom, right? It's just very basic. And like Trudeau, it's like Trudeau. Remember, Trudeau, Doug Ford, the City Council, the Ottawa City Council, all of those people did not have. Primarily Trudeau, because that's the reason we were there. We were there to end mandates and to talk to the Trudeau government. Didn't have just the most basic form of courage to talk to his constituents. That's how you know it's all fake. It's all staged. It's all BS. So when you see a politician going out and shaking hands and talking to random strangers, no, it's all staged. They have a list of everybody who's going to be there. I know because I've seen this. I've seen how it works from the inside. And the Freedom Convoy is a perfect example. If there was true leadership is the ability to say no, as opposed to always saying yes, but coming out and meeting with people who are your political adversaries or disagree with you. None of them had the balls to do it. Like, it's pathetic. Maybe that's what they talk about, the lack of, lowering testosterone in our society. I guess they're looking at Trudeau. I mean, listen, you can tell, obviously, I'm not afraid of conflict. I kind of enjoy it. I would walk down. I would be the first one to walk out and say, all right, boys, what do you want? Right? Like, that's... anyways, it is what it is. Will, so very pissed right now. 2,000 plus pages to dive into. Gonna take a while. Yeah, no, 100%. That's whatever it is. What it is. But you do now have, despite the fact that I gave Rouleau the benefit of the doubt, I defended him. I said he was fair, even though I did not agree with him. And I didn't want to project any of his intentions, why he denied my request for a late standing application, which I'll get to the standing application in a second. Because if I had standing, I would have had Jim Kalaharios cross-examine every single one of the people on our side on the other side, right? And you saw he was pretty effective when he was leading with me with my questions. And he didn't actually do many leading questions. He was quite good. So you have now a justice who's proven that age does not equal wisdom and experience does not equal wisdom. That's why I posted the video yesterday from Barry Schwartz. And forget the politics. It's not about, because he's kind of on the other side. Forget about the political messaging in the beginning. It's just the overall message. It's called Our Lack of Wisdom. Is there a loss of wisdom or lack of wisdom? I don't know, it's a presentation from many years ago that I posted last night. And it was really interesting to see last night that Rouleau had a video from an interview in 2017 that somebody posted and sent to me talked about, they're talking about his background, his life, and he said he always dreamed of being a trucker, a snowplow operator, a trucker, being on the road or whatever, which is great. So I guess he realized that dream by stabbing tens of thousands of truckers across the country in the heart. That's what he did. He took Canadians who just wanted their freedom. They just wanted less restriction of the government. They wanted the government to get off their throat and stop destroying their lives and their businesses. And Rouleau stabbed them in the heart. That's now his legacy. It's I posted this in a tweet. There's a couple of things I had to jot down here because it's just, yesterday, as you can imagine, was a crazy day. There was a tweet that I posted yesterday that the Justice did an excellent job calming people's anxiety and adding credibility to our justice system. #sarcasm. So there's another example of somebody through this whole episode. We saw that in Ottawa, that the government, the incompetence of government, whether it was law enforcement, city council, federal, provincial, whatever, the gross incompetence got to the point that they were dangerous. And why were they dangerous? I said this on Russell Brand. Why were they dangerous specifically? When I explained, I didn't go into detail with Russell. They're dangerous because their incompetence has led not only to the instability of our system, but they escalated at every opportunity. Every opportunity they escalated. There were so many opportunities for de-escalation. And one of the things I've learned about law enforcement and policing, like on-the-ground policing, over the last many years, is their primary concern when you're an officer, when you're dispatched somewhere to a call, especially domestic, is de-escalation. That's why they want to train officers in basic psychology and communication and all that sort of stuff. But what did they do? They did the opposite. They escalated at every opportunity. You know why? Because none of them had a clue what the hell to do. They were all cowards. None of them had a spine and the ability to just come out and talk to us and find out what are the specific grievances we can address and how can we address them and turn into a PR win for everybody? No, they're all too stupid for that. That would require a functioning brain cell. And then then Rouleau turns around and just propped up all their bullshit. So that incompetence and stupidity, yes, that's the moral standard we want in Canada. And don't ever protest again, because anytime somebody protests and feels as though, their feelings might be hurt, well, we can just bring in martial law. That's not wisdom. That is a profound lack of wisdom. Now, I know we also focus on Rouleau, and one of the things I saw that was interesting was, obviously it's not just Rouleau. I don't know how many lawyers, how many people they had on the council team that were investigating and putting together this report, because it's not just him. It was a couple hundred people, I think, put this all together, maybe more. So you probably had the infusion of these woke assholes in our legal system meddling with this report and advocating for the bullshit in the fake news media. It's possible. But it does have his name on it. It's the Rouleau Commission. And I know a lot of you are disappointed and upset, but I look at it this way. Like, I see it as toilet paper. That's all it is. He produced toilet paper yesterday. And there are some legal remedies that I'm exploring that we might have. And if I do, I might need some help for you for this. But there is a legal remedy. But do you get upset at toilet paper? Right? Toilet paper. You walk by it on the shelf in the grocery store. Do you have any emotional attachment to toilet paper? No. So why would you have an emotional attachment to this toilet paper? Because that's all it is. It's just garbage. It's Pravda garbage. Now, what do we have instead? We have something else. We have this. So going back to what I explained here for on the other streams, what I explained in the beginning, that I wanted to have as detailed and accurate a story that is positive and showed the true nature of the Freedom Convoy, the convoy that gave us hope. I wanted to document it in a book, and thank God for John Goddard for helping me with this. This is absolutely, I can't say enough about it. But this is how you counteract that toilet paper that Rouleau put out yesterday. This. So if you're upset and you're angry, and this sounds like a plug, but I'm not even plugging it. I'm just tactfully, I'm just thinking. If you want to show people the truth of what happened, then buy a copy and send it to your MP or MPP. Buy a copy, like Guillaume has bought some copies for his local coffee shops in Montreal. Spread the word, because this is it in print. This is the countermeasure to that piece of toilet paper that Rouleau distributed yesterday. And everything in here is verifiable. Everything. It's factual. It's verifiable. Unlike his many of his statements in there, it was we have something. We have something to start to build upon. So I tried to do my part and to try to get my word, and I'm going to continue to doing this. I'm not going anywhere because we're all starting to get along, and some of you are great, and we're developing some friendships. We're communicating regularly. That's why we're building out the Discord, because this doesn't end here. And there's a whole bunch of you saw yesterday when the decision came out, all the what's it called, the emails that were coming out to people, and there's a reason for that, and I'm going to get to that in a second. You got so many comments coming up. Good morning, Kiss Junkie. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Kiss Junkie, I hope your job is awesome. Congratulations to her for finally, after a couple of years with all this mandate stuff, she's back in the workforce. I'm very happy for you. Freedom Cowgirl said that, but I agree with her. Well, that's interesting. Tidbit info that I wanted to be on the road. Okay, all those lockdown weirdos are going to love the digital IDs and climate lockdowns that are coming. You know what the problem is, Amanda? They will, because they're brainwashed. They're brainwashed to the point, and it's a small subsect of our society. It's that E.O. Wilson quote that I use all the time, that the genes hold culture on a leash. And those people are the people who are trapped by culture, by subservient, by being, that's why I give the BDSM analogy, right? They want to be slaves, those people. They're desperate to be slaves. But then there's the rest of us who have the natural instinct, the overwhelming majority of the natural instinct for freedom. Who do you think is going to win in the end? I'm pretty confident it's going to be us. It's just going to be a bumpy road. And remember, I said things are going to get better, but there's going to be bumps in the road. Well, this is one of them. And there's going to be more. That doesn't mean things aren't going to get better over the long term. They will. Jesse, you're so very kind. Jesse is wonderful to everybody. So you're all wonderful. And that's why Jesse's one of the people who's testing in our Discord. Jesse is in it as well. I hope you're liking it, by the way, Jesse, and let me know. We'll talk about it in Discord later on today. The audacity of Rouleau had to say that he did not believe the OPP that there was no violence. He basically said the OPP lied, just boggles the mind. Yeah, that was, I explained this before, and, the little context, I know not a lot of people in policing, and you have the two different factions in policing right now. That's why I don't like to group all police together and attack them all. And one side is the guys who are close to retirement, and they just don't give a damn anymore. They know how politicized things are, and they're going to stick to the truth and what's right. And those guys are usually close to retirement. Then you have the political garbage that's all applying for jobs and will just regurgitate any woke BS that they need to get a job, right? And that was very clear in the commission. You could see the contrast. And why is that important? Because Pat Morrison is the former. He is somebody who has 36 years on the job. He's the most senior intelligence officer, I believe, who was on this file. And as he said on the stand, the lack of violence was shocking. And also the lack of criminal charges was shocking. Like, there's no violent charges, no nothing, whatever. It was all mischief and crap like that. But Rouleau, I don't think he's dumb, but I think he has zero wisdom. Zero. And this is also why I go back to explaining to people, human beings don't make decisions rationally. I learned this from Cialdini many years ago. A number of people are into NLP understand this. There's a bunch of books that have been written about it. Latest is Scott Adams is a podcaster who talks about this. But all those people in that sphere kind of explain that human beings don't make rational decisions. None of us do. You don't either. We make emotional decisions and we post-rationalize them after the fact. That's what Rouleau just did, right? He made an emotional decision. He decided somebody was scared. He bought into the victim narrative, I guess because he's of that ilk, right? He was on, one of the guys was running for prime minister. Like, he was deeply embedded in the Liberal Party in the past. And I guess he's gone down this progressive slope of everybody's a victim, and I guess I don't know. I'm not going to make too many judgments, but just obviously very disappointed. And then what does he do? He post-rationalizes it with his bullshit. That's how people make decisions. It's really frustrating, but it is what it is. Treat it like toilet paper, because that's all it is. And in contrast to toilet paper, we have this. HonkingForFreedom.com. Please share it with as many people as possible. If you want to change minds, we have an uphill battle. It's going to take us a while. We need to get this in front of as many people as possible. So, next thing I'm going to get into. Thank you. I was getting pissed off when the Commish enjoyed the report. The Thesis. If Thesis states in testimony there was not a threat to national security, a reasonable person would conclude the high threshold was not met, as the threat to national security is defined by the Thesis Act was the main requirement, which Rouleau completely ignored. Completely ignored it. Just decided, nah, it's okay. No, it's just, I heard some people were mean, therefore martial law is good. There's your Canadian justice system. That's why Jordan Peterson was, I think some of you might have seen his tweets. He tweeted at me a couple of times yesterday as well. BJ, he says to me, how about another Convoy, BJ? I'm like, well, let's. And we emailed back and forth a little bit. And, but yeah, he's really upset as well. A lot because he's seeing where this is going to lead. This is not going to be good for this country. This will be a country that turns into even more of a dystopian nightmare than it is right now. It's ironic, my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, the one whose family was wiped out in the Holocaust. Although I'm apparently anti-Semitic, according to fuckface, blackface Trudeau. But my grandfather who survived, he survived because he left Europe before the Nazis invaded, and that wasn't even on his radar. He didn't care about the Nazis. Where he was, that wasn't really relevant. He was worried about the Russians. He was worried about the communists. He saw that as the greater threat. So he got the hell out of Europe as quickly as he could, and he came to Canada in, you know what, I don't remember what year. I'd have to ask my dad. I think it was in the early 30s, if I'm not mistaken. And and then ironically, on my other family side, my great grandfather was a rabbi and a colonel in the German army in the late 1800s. Just to show how quickly a society can change. Well, where are we now? How much have we changed in 5 to 10 years? Let's say 10 years. And what are we going to look like in 10 years on this current trajectory? Pretty scary, isn't it? This is why we need to speak up. But we need to be strategic, right? They're good at the propaganda war and the PR campaign. I'm good at that too, but everybody argues with me. That's what is happening in Ottawa. It was so frustrating. Oh, we just lost TikTok. Oh, well. Okay, so next thing. Hold on. Oh, Chase, you're on here. Hey, what's up? NGP Jordan Peterson is absolutely right. We're on the road to dystopian nightmare. Weak-kneed Rouleau has made it even worse. And again, it's not just him. It's everybody who worked on that commission that allowed this to go forward and tried to promulgate. They built this toilet paper on fake news. Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy, Meg. That's why I call it the Pravda Report. Because it's all built on falsities. That anyone, convoyvideos.com, go there. Anybody with functioning eyes and ears could see exactly what the convoy was, and it was the complete opposite of that. Can you imagine saying that Woodstock was an insurrection? That's what they're doing. Yeah, so frustrating. Okay, so next, the lawyers. The lawyers, I'm trying not to swear as much. I know some people get upset. Sometimes it's just, it's really important because it's necessary. The lawyers fucked us. That's it. They just intentionally or out of incompetence, I don't know. But they fucked us. One of the things they did is they omitted, and I think this was intentional, they omitted my name from the standing application. Why'd they do that? Why would they omit my name from the standing application? Right? I was the one who was probably the most strident in terms of we need to talk to the government directly and we need to focus on mandates, right? They were fabricating this bullshit of, they now call it a deal. During the convoy, you never heard the word deal. It was called moving the trucks. To which every time I heard that, I said, no, just wait. We have to talk to somebody in the federal government. Stop. But once they saw, I mean, you know what? I'll defer you to War Campaign's video called Dismantling the Freedom Convoy. Please watch it and share it with as many people as possible. Really well researched. And remember, those guys they're great. They're comic book guys. So there's a lot of entertainment in there, and people should not get triggered by anything in it. It's actually quite good. They're quite bright, and I got a lot of time for those guys. Despite the fact that they were, skeptical of me during the leading up to the commission and I get that because they didn't have the full story. And now they do, and I think they trust that I was acting in good faith the entire time. Although Big Con Canada Inc. did not, which is what invaded Ottawa and took over us. Now, there's one thing that needs to be determined is when did they start, right? There is some, I don't want to get into the evidence too much right now. We're going to have to distribute this over time, which is why they're going to smear me, because they need as many people to turn off and think, oh, Dichter's a Fed, so people won't listen to me, because they know I have a target on their ass at this point. Now I'm out for blood. It's interesting when did this whole mechanism of entryism to take over the convoy start? Because we're starting to see evidence that it started before we even left Ottawa. Before we even left to Ottawa. When everybody was still at home, that's when they started. But I'm sure that'll come out in some forums in the near future. And then the other thing is, and I mentioned this prior to the report coming out, I just don't want to say the guy's name because he's just such a piece of shit. The lawyer, the activist, the activist LARPing as a lawyer is exactly what it was. His own words were used against us in the closing statements of the government of Canada. Did you notice that? I can't remember the name of the lawyer who was there on behalf of the government, but he quoted Keith Wilson. He quoted him in his closing statements to argue for Rouleau to rule against the convoy. How do you think that was received by the justice when he thinks, well, even their own lawyer, who wasn't even their lawyer at that time anymore, he was already replaced by, what's his name, Mason or something like that. What do you think? That's why he had to testify, right? And then Chris Barber gets on and uses the word occupation every other word. I'm like, what is this clown world? Why is everybody using Trudeau's words, right? If True North just did, and I got a lot of time for a couple of people there, but they did their summation of it. They brought in, firstly, fucknut Justin Ling, the guy who, he's on my defamation list for comparing me to Anders Breivik. The hell, man? What's wrong with these people? And they call the documentary The Freedom Occupation. What? Like, does nobody know anything about communications and marketing? What is wrong with these people? So I call some of them retarded sometimes. They really are. I hope they get angry at that. It's so funny. But anyways, it was... they totally screwed us. You know what, Hitchhiker? 100%. And you know what? I knew it. And I said to people, I said that when it was happening. They're screwing us. And you know how I knew? Somebody quite famous called me, and who knows the JCCF, knows how they operate, had done work for them for many years, and said to me, keep away from them. All they're there is to fundraise. They lose every case. It's just about money. And that's why I was trying to keep them at a distance. And they tried to separate me and Tamara. And me and Tamara were texting, and she'd come over. And then like, oh yeah, Tamara, come over here. Like, it was constant, right? Because they screwed us, right? Was it incompetence or intentional? I don't know. Probably a little bit of both. Who knows? And then when I tried, this was the frustrating part, and I know many of you on here understand this, and thank you everybody for coming to my aid. And this started during the convoy. During the convoy, I saw this was happening. I tried to warn people. After the convoy, I tried to warn people and explain these people are screwing me. And then what happened? Big Con Canada Inc. utilized their useful idiots, to smear me all over the web. Oh, Dichter's a Fed. Oh, Dichter's this. Oh, Dichter's that. Whatever. They were playing you. Because I was there on the inside warning everybody they're screwing with us. So they get the army of little trolls online, bash Dichter, say this about Dichter, say this about Dichter, persuade people to think, oh, Dichter's a bad guy. We'll make up whatever rumor. That shithead, Hurt Locker Tom, a couple of weeks ago, before he blocked me because he's a complete pussy. People are posting him, oh, I hear Dichter's a Fed. And what does he respond with? He responds with, well, yeah, I don't know. I've heard some things too. Heard some things too. You're the Fed. You work for the military. Like, oh my God. Anyways, whatever. So, much of this you guys already know, and you understand it. And yes, I'm animated because I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about all of you. I'm passionate about our freedom. And obviously, like all of you, I was upset with what I saw. But I guess I have to gauge, I'm more really, really disappointed. Really disappointed. I tried to give the justice system, it was a commission, it wasn't a legal case, but I tried to give it, I tried to be as fair and put my faith in it. And you know what? I said many times, we'll get something balanced. We'll get something that's not committal to either side. Truckers bad, government bad, don't do it again. Change this in the act, and that's it. This is worse. This turned it into toilet paper. But the fact that in evidence, and you can see throughout the report, whose narrative are they using to smear us? They're using the lawyer's narrative, our lawyer's narrative. That there was a deal. I never even heard this word, deal, until August. That there was all this, and I thought, you guys saw my testimony. I thought we were pretty clear in indicating Keith Wilson's text message Neither Eva nor I have drafted anything for the city. More rumors, because it wasn't the first time. It was happening over and over and over again, over and over and over again. And then Tamara Leach also saying, yeah, there's nothing. I can't remember the exact wording. I got to find it, actually, for something else today. There's nothing. There's no deal. She didn't say no deal, but we haven't drafted anything or whatever. But if anything changes, I'll let you know. Okay. Were they both lying to me? I don't know. Now I don't know. I have no idea. But we didn't drive across the country and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in fuel, because that's what it cost all these people to drive their trucks. I mean, some of you have seen I've posted, when I fill up at Flying J, like a tank is $1,500, which goes, in my case, about 2,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers, depending on how I drive. They didn't spend all that money and time to drive across the country, to wave a few flags, to allow the Conservatives to get rid of their leader and declare the Convoy as part of their party, so then we can go home. That's not what we were there for. We were there to end mandates, and we were there to end the ArriveCan app. And anybody who says, oh, Dichter's a plant and a Fed, when I say that, that's Big Con Canada Inc., whether they realize it or not, because many of those people just don't have very high IQs and they're easily manipulated. But there's your evidence. Or sorry, a data point, right? So then what happened? What's the next move, right? I woke up today to the smears from Big Con Canada Inc., also known as the National Post, right? And what do they put? And this is, by the way, this is so much of this is strategy, because they all work together. It's the fake news on both sides. I'm sorry, guys. It's fake news everywhere. It's not just on the left. It's on both sides. This excerpt was in a piece in the National Post, apparently. I mean, I don't read the National Post, but somebody sent it to me. That's how I know. Normally, I just wouldn't care. But and it says, for example, when Mr. Convoy lawyer Keith Wilson sought to bring more order to the group, when he sought to bring more order to the group, his efforts were met with suspicion and criticism from Freedom Corporation Director Benjamin Dichter and Convoy accountant Chad Eros, Rouleau wrote. Yes, because I told everybody they're here and they're screwing us. I know enough lawyers. This is not a lawyer. It confirmed when I got that call from my friend saying, these are not lawyers, these are activists. So right away, the red flags go up, and then I see his behavior, and I keep telling people, this is not a lawyer. We need to get somebody else. These people got to get as far away from us as possible. I don't know why Tamara wouldn't listen. She wouldn't listen. So many times I had that conversation with her. So many times. And to the point I'm now angry. I'm angry at myself. But, so anyways, that's the piece. So what's the next thing that's going to happen? I'm sure some of you have already received the emails. That's why I posted that tweet last night. The rage grifting is going to start now. Now you're going to get rage grifting emails from political parties, from NGOs, from alternative fake news, from everything with new .coms and whatever. The rage grifting is going to be, they can start emailing you with ambiguous causes for freedom. Support us because of X person or because of this or the Rouleau. Send us money and we'll fight for freedom. How you going to do that? Doesn't matter. Just, we need money. That's it. That is Big Con Canada Inc. That is why Trudeau is in power. That's what's keeping him in power. And Bitcoin Canada Inc. is what screwed us. And you see that in the report. Because you see their fake narrative all throughout the report. And it's completely false. And it's really, from my perspective, and I think many of you will understand, this position is, I see this on Twitter and I see this from people, and I understand there's a very, very small subsection of people that are tied to a political class or the media, and they're just smear merchants, and they just, they just parrot like an idiot talking points to smear somebody. Okay, I get that. But, there's a lot of people who are like, well, maybe, we got to unify, and like, no. And I'm like, it's the same as when we all know people like this that still maybe support Trudeau, and we want to shake them. And we want to say, wake up, right? How many of you know that? We need to shake them and wake up. Can't you see what Trudeau is, right? That's what I want you to, that's how I feel about so many people about Big Con Canada Inc., who screwed all of us. Wake up, can't you see it? Can't you see the intentional smears online and how it works? It's all intentional. It's all there just to manipulate you into one of two silos. You're on the Liberal or NDP silo, or you're on the fake Conservative silo. So, it's frustrating. Hold on, I just got something right now. Okay, that's good. All right, this is a funny one, but I saw that yesterday. Somebody just sent me the teacher that was wearing the prosthetic breasts. But let's stay focused. He's walking around. It was an epic troll. I called it a long time ago. That is an epic troll, and turns out it was. But anyways, so those emails you get about fighting for your freedoms, those are grifting emails. Those are there just to capture money from you. Why they're there to capture money for you? For two reasons. To fund their bullshit, because they're not going to do anything. They're just like any other politician. And to ensure that those of us who actually sacrifice and actually care about this issue won't get funding. Or at least it eats into the pot. Because everybody only has a certain amount of money that they're going to be able to donate to a cause. Right? Oh, I could buy Dichter's book for $20, but, if I give $20 to this organization, they'll fight for my freedoms. That's what they're doing to you. And this is why things never change here. It's really, so I want you to and that's why I keep talking about Big Con Canada Inc. We'll get into positivity in a second, because there's some good signs. Okay? So many comments coming up here. The corp is the board that was... Okay, you're explaining what was going on in the structure. Yeah, they're in Chile, so they don't understand. We'll talk about that in the Spanish Twitter space. That's going to be held on Wednesday night, by the way. So if you speak Spanish, we're going to talk politics in Latin America and here, and all the similarities and some of the cross-pollination with Canada and the U.S. And I was just on a very big podcast yesterday, actually, while all this was going on, and explaining some of that cross-pollination in politics into Latin America from Canada. And that's going to be released March 11th, and that's a pretty big big podcast. Anyways, so from I'm a DB Productions, how did they landed as council? As far as I can understand, no one from the original organization council contacted them. Very interesting question, which I just found out the answer yesterday, the day before. I think it was the day before in the Twitter space. I didn't know this. Chris Guerra explained it to me, that Wilson and them were invited by, invited or hired or whatever by Tamara. And she never told me that. And we're too busy. We're so busy that I couldn't, you couldn't deal with all the problems and questions all at once. And then he told me that she volunteered $63,000 that came from Adopt a Trucker. I guess she volunteered it, but didn't know how it was going to get paid for. But she just did it anyways, but she didn't talk to us, which I don't think that was probably the right decision to do. But, we all under pressure, we all try to do our best to make the best decisions. But there's going to be an asterisk here in a second. So she, I guess, hired them or said, yeah, you can come. We need a legal team. Come here, whatever. And then they just showed up. And I don't know if that was just pressure for her or this was pre-planned or whatever. I don't know. But she didn't have the money to pay for it, so she turned to Chris Guerra and said, Adopt a Trucker has money. Can you pay for their flight, which was $63,000? Have you ever been on a flight that cost $63,000? I mean, I've been on an airplane that cost more than $63,000. they could take a car, especially the quality of these lawyers. They could have walked. They could have walked with James Topp, as far as I'm concerned, and arrived in June. That would have been much preferable. But paid them? Like, I found, like, and when I asked her, I asked her at some point, I can't remember the circumstances. She might be able to clarify it. But I asked her, she said, somebody is donating money for a flight. Because she came to me, she said, can I have my husband go on the flight? Because her husband, Dwayne, was in Alberta. And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Why not? And she said, okay, because it's another stop. I'm like, okay. She said, yeah, we have somebody who's going to cover the flight and whatever. And I don't think she said we have to reimburse him, but I don't know. She might have. I don't, Anyways, but she, and that money came out of Adopt a Trucker and just volunteered his money. Now, I don't know that she intended to do that, but probably not. But why is it a private flight? And that Pat King in a suit is like, oh, well, it wasn't a luxurious private jet. It was small and it was bouncy and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm sorry, you prima donna wannabe. I'm sorry you didn't like the quality of the turboprop you were on. I don't know if it was a King Air or something like that, but it was a turboprop. You could see because Hurt Locker Tom was also on that plane, and he took a picture from it like an idiot, and I could see the nacelle on the wing, which shows it's a turboprop. Anyways, whatever. Okay, so look at some comments. So yeah, that's how they came there. We're investigating now. We're all trying to find out more of what was going on, and digging deep into a lot what was going on. There's just a lot of information to figure out how this all came together, and how they came there. Because I still don't understand how the plane from hell landed, and I was just shocked to find out that it was paid for out of Adopt a Trucker money, which was separate from Freedom Convoy money. That was a completely separate fundraiser. Exactly. The fact that Rouleau repeated the JCCF Wilson's narrative in the report tells me all I need to know. Yeah, like it's what can you do? It's there in print for you to read, right? D2, how do I find you on Discord? Do you have if you have Twitter, I can send you the link. We're trying to manage it for now as we build it out. We don't want to get bombarded. Like, I don't want to send Peterson saying, hey, here's a Discord link. I want to get a lot of people in there because then we'll just get overloaded, right? I don't know if he would do that for me, but he probably would if I asked him for a favor. But anyways, send me a thing in a message over Twitter, and I will. I'll DM you the private link, and you can come in for now. I think now there's, 30 people in there. Slowly, we're building out people that we all know who they are. There's no trolls. There's none of that stuff, right? Tao. Oh wow, I was looking for what Wilson and crew would have to say. Never figured day one smears would come from the media. Oh yeah, of course, because I'm not going to shut up. So what do they have to do? Big Con Canada Inc. has to continue the defamation. Well, they might have a little surprise for all of them. That's really costing book sales tremendously. I'm no DB Productions asking BJdichter, how did they indeed land as counsel? As far as I can understand, no one from the original organizing council contracted that. Yeah, we didn't. The only, well, you know what? We got to prove it first. So I don't want to say anything until we actually have actual proof of this. There may be some reason going back several years that would explain it, but we have to verify it before I say it. So I don't want to, whatever. Okay, where are you guys from? I thought you knew each other. Andrea, I thought you knew each other. Are you not all from Chile? Are you from different parts of Latin America? Anyways, if anybody's in El Salvador, let me know, because I may be going there sometime in the near future. It's not working confined. Okay, you know what you can do? D2, find me on Twitter, at BJdichter. Just follow me. You'll come up on my alert. I'll find you, and I'll DM you the Discord link so you can join. Okay? 100%, blah, blah, blah. Just going through your comments here. Why is Tamara in hiding? I have not seen or heard her talk about these issues. I don't know. She, it's interesting. You know, like I was very concerned about her being rearrested, but then she goes on that what's it called? I call him what's it called? Keith's Muppet. She goes on his channel, the guy who spends every day obsessing over me that the war campaign made fun of it the other day. BJ. Apparently I'm the omnipotent, all-knowing, all-powerful guy who controls everything but was never around but was always around. Not that they're too obsessed, right? But that's Keith's ventriloquist puppet. And Tamara goes on his YouTube channel. I thought we had a restriction. So it seemed to be loosey-goosey with it. I don't know. If you're going to be doing that sort of stuff, then there's no reason. But I have some theories. When I mentioned this yesterday, that she had reached out to me. And I was like, I'm not responding because I'm not getting her arrested. No, thank you. So I had my accounts. I called my lawyer and I said, why don't you contact Tamara's new lawyer, not the one associated with the JCCF, the subcontractor for her criminal campaign, her criminal charges, and have Tamara talk with me. Like the four of us will get together on a call. That was like 6 weeks, maybe 2 months ago. They still haven't responded. What does that tell you? I don't know. Anyways, it is what it is. If I seem stressed, I'm not. I'm just tired. That's my annoying side. I'm just annoyed, with a lot of things, as many of you know who are in the Discord as well. Link me to Jesse. Okay, you guys are all sharing some stuff, and yeah, share as much information with you guys, with each other as possible. There's the Diverge Media articles, which were great. There's one or two in the National Telegraph. The War Campaign has done a few videos. There's more stuff apparently that's coming out. And we'll be posting that stuff in the Discord, also on Twitter and all that sort of stuff. Just want to get away from the rage bots, the Big Con Canada Inc. Rage bots that are smearing myself and others, I guess, and building out an ecosystem where we'll be able to kind of engage with people on a proper intellectual and academic ground. That's what we're trying to do, and it'll work. I don't know who Cuidado es Forma is. Okay, well, cool. Awesome. I don't know, but you've now found... You can now come to our Twitter space on Wednesday. I think you said we're going to do Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, right? And I'm going to have to practice some Spanish because... I was trying to speak Spanish yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God. Andrea, olvido todo. Todas palabras. So necesito hablar en español muy básico ahora, porque no tengo oportunidades para practicar. Okay, back over to locals. I question the JCCF and the Democracy Fund. I find neither are about justice or democracy. That's from Amanda. Agreed. This is all... this is all just fundraising and grifting, and where those monies are going is quite interesting, as some people are learning. It's not necessarily where you think they're going. BJ, you digress. I will fight my own. I'll fight on my own dime. Gotcha. Yes, I have to. Unsubscribe to a lot of emails. Why bother getting them? Yeah, because what they'll do is they'll put you into an email funnel. So once you donate, and this is what basic funnel advertising is, marketing is online. The reason you donate, or when they just want your email address or whatever, because then you get put into queue, whether they're using MailChimp or Constant Contact or a custom application, you get put into that queue and then you get bombarded with every email. So they just have one email and it goes out to their email list. That's why on my Substack, I try not to abuse it. I try not to use it too much. And I just want to give you guys content and valuable information as opposed to using it as any sort of fundraising grift. Although, for a strategy that's come about that we're looking at, I may have to raise money for it. I have no choice. I mean, I can't pay all of it, working the truck. I guess I could, when mine is paid off, I guess I could leverage another few trucks and start doing it. But then, anyways, I'm considering it. I explained that yesterday. But good Lord, I can't do Discord, Twitter, and listen. Okay. Oh, so are you telling me you want me to stream on Discord right now? Okay, so what I'm going to do, just for you, I know it's at the end, but again, we're still just testing. I'm going to, you heard me just click. You're currently, okay. I'm going into the Discord live streaming room, Jesse, and I'm now live in Discord as well, which is, where we're going to go with a lot of this stuff. So there you go. You can watch me on Discord too. Frank says TDF seems more effective in terms of anti-mandate suit rules. Well, no, they're just focusing on criminal charges. At least that's what Adam told me. And Adam's a nice guy, by the way. He's the CEO of the Democracy Fund. He told me they have, well, I shouldn't say they have criminal charges, but then he told me they just had criminal charges. But then yesterday he told me they have a bunch of quasi-criminal charges. So I don't know what quasi-criminal means. I guess we'll find out. But maybe. My problem is with the Democracy Fund is that's Ezra Levant. I don't trust him for a frickin' second. He's Keith Wilson's one of Keith Wilson's longest friends since law school. And, when Keith Wilson called me on the 18th, harassing me to leave, you got to leave, you got to leave, you got to leave. And there were people around me saying, don't leave. Why would you leave? They're not going to arrest you. I'm like, I know. And he's like, no, somebody's got to stand up for freedom. If, Ben, BJ, if you don't leave, nobody's going to be able to stand up for freedom. This is Keith fucking Wilson saying this to me, saying, you got to leave now. You got to leave. I'm trying to protect you. You got to leave for 20 minutes. And I finally acquiesced. And I said, all right. You know what? I'll get out of the red zone. I'll leave the hotel. I have a friend who lived in Ottawa. I'll go see my friend who I was going to see at the end of the week anyways. And I'll continue from there. And then I had to be on the phone with lawyers the entire week. And as soon as I left, I put up a tweet to explain, because all the road captains already started leaving. That was going on for like 2 hours already. And I put up the tweet saying we're all going to, we're getting, it was to try to de-escalate the police. I think I did it before or after. I can't remember. I'd have to check back the timeline. But maybe I did it before he called me. Yeah, I think I did it before. And then he called me, and then I did, if I remember correctly. And, the people there with me, why are you leaving? Don't leave. Don't leave. You should stay here. And I'm like, I know, but you never know and whatever. I trusted Keith. I've trusted Keith Wilson the one time. What a friggin' mistake that was. Because as soon as I got out of the hotel and got into the Uber, I see a retweet from his friend, Ezra fucking Levant, a piece of garbage who didn't upload the biggest news story in the history of Canada. He buried it. He retweeted my tweet and said, it looks like you ran. What a dipshit. I didn't see him on the street getting beaten. He's such an asshole. Big Con Canada Inc. That's what we're going to take down. It's going to take some time, but we will. Anyways, so on to the good news. What's the good news? Right? Because we got to finish off. We can't finish off on a negative frame and all that sort of stuff. Because there are so many good things that are going on, that will continue to go on. There will be bumps in the road. There's going to be more big bumps in the road, I promise you. But we'll be able to deal with them all. Doesn't matter how big it is, we'll be able to push through it. And we start with this. Sharing this with as many people as possible. Getting them to understand that the Rouleau report, I'm going to hold this as like, this is the Rouleau report. This is toilet paper. This is the real story of what went on. And I guess Justice Rouleau never read my book. So much for due diligence. It's a sad day what's happened here, but we'll get through it. We have this to start with. We have all of you. We have many people coming together, many other platforms, many other people researching. understanding what the truth is. That's why Tao. That's why that's why they've started with the smear in legacy media. That is, I mean, the National Post is the Conservative Party. That's it. So that's why the National Post has tried to start with a smear today. They're never going to stop, and I hope they don't. I can't tell you how much I don't want them to talk about me. Go ahead, boys. Looking forward to it. Anyways, I'm no DB production. I used to subscribe to Rebel, cut them off after the Convoy. Yeah, a lot of people are telling me the same thing. And it's the grift. It's like, oh, support the truckers at Convoy, whatever it is, somethingconvoy.com. I haven't seen any of that money. Have you seen any of that money? I don't see a dime. Bridget didn't see a dime of it. Chad didn't see any of it. Chris didn't see any of it. Joe, none of us have seen any of it. The 100 or so truckers that I have now on a list that don't have representation, they haven't seen any of the money from Rebel News, the supporttruckers.com. Like, fuck. You know, how long do they think this was going to go on before they got caught? Until somebody said, enough. And that's me, and that's all of us. So we have bumps in the road going forward, but it's going to end up positive. It's just going to take some time to get there. It's going to take a little while. And we got to stick together and don't buy into the smears. Shut down the smears when possible. Let's help build this community. I want the Discord to be the Freedom Convoy Online. And that's how we're trying to structure it. Because the Freedom Convoy didn't have just one group of political actors. And if we see any political actors in there, you're nuked. That's it. They're just automatically going to get nuked. So we can engage and grow the movement together, not allow certain grifters to start, taking over rallies and bringing people in and whatever and disrupting them. That's why we're going to, but it's going to be kind of the long haul. It's going to take a while. Is that any off negative? I don't think that's negative. I mean, does it need more positive? I know this. Look, we had a negative day yesterday. Negative was really, it was a difficult day for all of us, and we needed to talk about this. I needed to talk about it with you, and I needed you to know what's going on, right? I am no DB Productions, except Bitcoin was the only money that the truckers get. Yes. Well, I mean, from what I heard, there were people that were also handing around cash. But I wasn't on the ground, obviously, because my ankle was broken. So they were all taking it and trying to, a few $100 here for a trucker for fuel, a few $100 there, sort of thing. So there was some of that going on, for sure. And there were a couple of people contacted me in Twitter who donated significant sums of money in that form to get it to the truckers directly. So some of that got to the truckers. But the lion's share of money that got to the truckers, like 99 point whatever percent, that was all Bitcoin. So I stopped supporting Rebel after the Convoy too. Well, good. I think everybody should. I've deleted. I don't watch anything of them. They screwed me enough times. Them and the conservatives screwed me enough times. I block them. I don't watch them. I don't anything because it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's pay for play. That's all it is. So, anyways, it is what it is. Beth has to go. I have to go. We all have to go. I want you to have an awesome day. And yes, we discussed some negative occurrences. There's no question. But I think it's behind us now. The toilet paper has been distributed. The fake news will try to smear myself and I'm sure a couple of other people. I don't care. Like I said, let them talk about it. And let's all stick together because we have to build something. We got to build something so we can fire back. And there are some remedies. I will be talking about them in the near future. And if we stick together, we'll unlike the grifters, we'll actually be able to be effective and tactical. Also, sometimes to be effective and tactical, we only talk about it a little bit and let things play on behind the scenes until we get the results, and then it comes. Hitchhiker, yeah, documentary called Freedom Occupation. Whose side are they on? Like, I couldn't believe that. And just really frustrating. Really frustrating. Remember, the Conservative Party narrative, it was peaceful and it got out of hand. And that is a blatant lie in every possible way. No. A small amount of anything. The truckers got some petty cash. It's not totally clear how much. Yeah, exactly. Angie, I don't trust True North either. Don't support them anymore either. Yeah, I got really annoyed when, I mean, I like Andrew, and Rupa does her podcast there, but she mainly, I think, works for Barry Weiss. Once I started to see the constant, here's Tom Marazzo, I'm like, you're bringing a low-level loser volunteer who nobody could stand. He was never around. Everyone's complaining to me. Who the hell is this guy who just keeps disappearing for a day at a time and coming back like he owns the place? I'm like, I don't know. He's just some volunteer. Just ignore him, right? That's what I explained in the book. And then True North goes and tries to prop him up as the face and the voice. Well, what did Truman say about having a friend in Washington? All right, so tomorrow we're going to focus more on positivity. We'll dissect these things over time. There's many things that are going to be released over time that will be quite entertaining and quite funny, I promise. It'll be really good. For those of you in the Discord, please continue using it. Tao, thank you especially for helping to put together this Discord. And for those who are joining who are across the political spectrum and being respectful of one another, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Let's build this whole foundation of freedom across the board so we can become a significant political force, because that's what's going to be needed to break up Big Con Canada Inc. Yeah, Tom, that was a volunteer that wanted to stay in the shadows. And the best part is when he's on the record in the commission, he had nothing to do with the convoy. He was just, he didn't have much to do. But when he's off the, when he's not on the record and he's not held legally accountable if he perjures himself, well, then I was strategically thinking and I was talking with the mayor and I was doing this. Like, I thought you had nothing to do with it, because you did have nothing to do with it. It's so funny. These are the people that, many months ago, I asked Peterson about in one of our private calls. I asked him, when you were going through your initial phase of getting lots of attention, and you could see, remember when he was on Steve Paikin? This was just before I met Jordan. I think I met him a week after that. You could see he looked like he was alone. He looked like he was alone in the world. And I asked him, I said, when you went through this, did you have like this barrage of people attacking you who maybe you thought were on your side or weren't or whatever? He's like, oh, it didn't stop. He said that's when that's when the pathological, the narcissism, and he used a bunch of psychological terms that I don't know because I'm not a psychologist. That's when you see the worst of the worst coming out and coming after you. And he's like, it's just a tough deal, man. That's just how it is. You got to just plow through it, I think is how he worded it, or something like you got to push through it and not let it get you down. And he seemed to really understand what I'm going through now. And, that's, I have a lot of support and admiration for him and his ability to speak up and articulate an argument. Same for Stephen Hicks, although completely different methodology of how they do it. And Gad Sad. So Stephen is like the thoughtful, really, really calm Zen guy. Jordan Peterson is the passionate, father-like professor. And Gad Sad is the funniest professor you'll ever meet in your life. Like, he keeps me in stitches all the time. And I have such admiration for those people. And there's others as well. But, I guess I know those three of them the best. And I mean, I've learned in the time that I've known them after the past several years, I've learned so much from all of them. So I've always had admiration for, obviously, for Jordan Peterson, as we all do. But I guess my more emotional trust in him was developed during the Freedom Convoy when he was, a voice to listen to me. And I know he was getting stuff from all over the place. He was getting people from Big Con Canada trying to tell him to talk out of both sides of their mouth as well. He's not stupid. I'm sure he knows that too. But, when we had our first, we spoke when we were at his dad's house for, an hour or something. And the fact that he understood what I was and am going through right now, that really helps. He didn't have that when he went through what he went through. I at least have the luxury of looking to somebody like him who's gone through what I'm going through now. And not only how to deal with it, but the importance of pushing through and having resolve. So, anyways, I'm going to stop talking about myself so much. Sorry, I don't like to want to talk about more freedom and you guys and all that sort of stuff. But I just thought that was important. Hurt Locker is touring with Theo Fury and Jamie Saley, or Sally, whatever. Big Con Canada Inc. There you go, right there. Right? Anybody when they call me, they smear me or call me a Fed or whatever, all that sort of stuff. Big Con Canada Inc. Right there. Right there for you. And I know who funds these people, by the way. I know where the money's coming from, and big business owner from out west, and I know the whole mechanism and how it operates. But we'll talk about that at a later date. Right now, I want you all to have an awesome day. We just got through some really difficult stuff. Let's make the rest of your day really positive. Things are going to get better. It's a beautiful day out. Be kind to your neighbors. If you have family you haven't spoken to in a while, reach out to them, send them an email, send them a call, whatever it is. Do something like that every day. Do that today. And I promise it's going to help you get beyond this initial shock of the toilet paper that is the Rouleau Pravda Report. And next step, we can think strategically, and I can put together with some people a strategy to do what I've said we're going to be doing here, which is further expand our freedoms. It's going to take some time. All right. I love you all. Thank you, everybody, for everything. And Spanish Twitter Space on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I might be in the truck. I'm not sure. I still have I promised a bunch of you I'd do this Talmudic lesson that's relevant to the Freedom Convoy, which is fascinating. That's for those who are big into religion, whether it's the New Testament, Old Testament. There's wisdom in both books. And but I'll let you know when I'm going to do that. Have an awesome day. Be good to each other. And I love you all. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.